while you're just sitting there on the train, going in, sitting at home, waiting for the game to start, you really need to start thinking about your next holiday and how you can just get away and cruise in luxury. So we have got my old mate, the Chief Dream Cruise Creator from, I love that title, 101 Cruise, Paul McAllister. Paul, welcome back to the studios.
Thanks for having us back, Bruce.
It's our pleasure, mate. And look, I think we haven't spoken for a few months now because
you've been away on a cruise.
I went away on a cruise. I went away on Royal Caribbean.
Yes.
Quantum of the Seas out of Brisbane to Fiji.
And you loved it?
Well, not Fiji, New Caledonia and South Pacific was what I wanted to say. Yeah, I did. And, you can make a cruise, as we were just discussing, anything you want.
Absolutely, because it's all provided for you there. It's a one-stop shop to enjoyment, if you ask me.
You look at the people who go on a cruise and they go, got to get up every morning, got to get down the buffet, got to eat a big breakfast, got to get down there for lunch, got to do this for dinner. And you don't have to do that.
No, because there's food 24 hours a day. So you don't have to rush off to get everything because, they're always going to have something there for you to eat. It's amazing. And the restaurants are fantastic on Royal Caribbean, aren't they?
Oh, they are. And I want to talk about that because I am celiac. So, you go on to one of these cruises and you think, what are we going to do? Well, in the buffet, there was a whole section of celiac food, gluten-free food, I should say. But we bought the dining package, which allowed us to go to the three
the specialty
restaurants.
Yeah.
And the first one we went to was the pasta one, Jamie
Oliver's, fantastic.
It tasted far better than anything that I had at Jamie Oliver's here in Perth.
I tend to agree. Like they really nail it. That's all they do in that restaurant. So they're just producing this amazing Italian food consistently.
But we're talking about Italian food here. So we're talking about pastas. We're talking heavy gluten. And I went in and I said, look, I'm gluten. They say at the start, any allergens?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I'm gluten free. And he went, you pick anything on the menu and I'll have a chat to the chef and see if we can do it or not. So it wasn't a matter of saying, well, that's gluten free and that's gluten free. It was just pick what you want and we'll see what we can do.
But they have to be these days because everyone has so many food allergies and these ships have to cater for that. So they're really on top of it all, which is excellent. I know when you actually fill out your survey information before you get on the cruise, there's so much there about food allergies and they really work on it. And they would come up to you at the restaurants and say that they know that you're gluten-free and they're already ready to give you options, which I find is fantastic.
But Chops Grill, the designated grill restaurant, steakhouse on board, easily the best steak I've ever had.
I know, but you're on a cruise ship.
And, so good was the food there that we booked for 2 nights later on. The last night we went back and dined there again. It was just magnificent.
You tend to do that a little bit. Like we did that on Azamara. Their Italian specialty restaurant was incredible, and we'd always go back, and we had to have the same dish every time, which was the lobster and prawn pasta. That was just out of this world.
Well, you've got a phone in front of you. You can give us a call if you've got any questions on cruising. I certainly can't answer them all. But I'm sure Paul can. Give us a buzz on 133 882 or you can text in on 0487 999 882. And if you do call in, you can go into the draw for the Caller of the Day prize of a $100 voucher from Harvey Norman. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was we paid a little bit extra. I can't remember how much it was, to be perfectly honest with you. And of course, we monitored, this is the other interesting thing, we monitored throughout to see what was happening with the prices. But we bought the VIP package.
Oh, the key.
The key.
Yes.
Now, when I say it's a VIP package, it's just it's not really VIP, but they give
some great benefits like getting a reserved seat in a theatre.
Well, the biggest benefit, I've got to tell you, was checking in.
Oh, yes, absolutely, because there's no queuing.
Because it's like at an airport. Mm-hmm. You go to the airport and there's a snake of people standing in economy, but there's no one at first class. And it's the same sort of situation. You just walk straight up to first class and they stop all the economy people.
That's right.
And let you go in and...
And how special did you feel doing that?
Yeah, well, I felt a bit snobbish. I actually felt a bit rude pushing to because different to an airport, There's thousands of people all at once trying to get onto
You're looking
a
at
boat.
4,500 people getting onto this ship. They do it very well by timing it out. They give you a special time that you should come, but not everyone sticks to that. But so you will get these highs and lows. But having something like the Quay will give you that access through. And the same with getting on and off when you're in port. You get that priority boarding and disembarkation.
Yeah, and the reserve seats at the shows was very good. And pardon me, that first day you get on, it's a designated lunch for the VIPs or for the key personnel in the. And the other good thing I liked was that you didn't have to carry your hand luggage around all day. As soon as you got onto the ship, you could just give it in at a table and they put it into your cabin. Whereas if you weren't, because as you know, you're allowed to take on at least a dozen cans of soft drink, I think it was, and 2 bottles of wine. And I thought, gee, lugging those around all day not all day, but until you can get to your cabin is a bit of an effort. But no, just straight up gave it to people.
Fantastic. And that's a service that you expect.
A couple of callers coming through. First of all, we've got Ian in Morley's never been on a cruise before. G'day, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, I like the show. Just a bit of advice we could, please. My wife and myself haven't done a cruise before, and we're sort of looking at either sort of flying to Singapore and hopping on a Royal Caribbean there, and just doing sort of like a 5 or 7 day one just to experiment and just see, do we like it? And there's no reason why we shouldn't, I hope. But, just your advice. What would you suggest on that sort of situation? Yeah.
It really is dependent on what you want to do on your cruise and which destinations you want to go to. Singapore is excellent because they do have quite a few cruise ships coming through regularly. So you do get to go up through Cambodia, Vietnam, and Vietnam's very hot at the moment. So everyone's wanting to go that way and then up into sort of Hong Kong or even further up into Japan. Singapore is excellent. Look, out of Australia, we're coming into the end of our cruising season now. That finishes in April, and then it comes back in October again and goes through April 2026. So it's a little limited. There is cruising around Australia at the moment. Princess and Carnival are the 2 big ships that are in at the moment, but they're selling out for this season at the moment. So it's filling up very quick.
But I think Ian's on the money there in relation to going up to Singapore because you can get, as you pointed out, Ian, a nice 4 or 5 day cruise. But the key to me being a first cruise person would be to have some have some locations to go to and not just be out on the cruise ship. But
just
have some port days. And
you do want to get sea. Look, I love my sea days, but you do want to go into ports. With the 4 day cruises, you end up having 1 day at sea, depending on which destinations you went to. So you might go to Penang, then on to Koh Samui, or Penang up to Phuket, and then sailing back to Singapore. But you'll love it, Ian. Honestly, you'll unpack once. Everything's laid on for you every night, all the meals, and then you have amazing entertainment as well. It's just a pure luxury experience.
There you go, Ian. I hope that helped for you.
Yep, thank you very much. Thank you.
Good on you. We've got another caller on the line. Let's go to Rod in Palmyra.
G'day, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Rod, how are you?
Good. I just come back from a cruise to New Zealand.
Okay.
On Royal Caribbean.
Yep.
And it was the best adventure we'd been on. It was really, really good. You couldn't complain about the food because there was that much of it. The accommodation was great. We did the Key...
yep.
Became a Key member. And as you said, you bypass all the queues. You just go bang on. We got a special thing to the theatre where you had a reserved seat and everything.
Yep.
And everything like that. And, we've already booked our next cruise for next year on Royal Caribbean again.
Once you've done one cruise, you're hooked, aren't you?
And they get you while you're on there.
This is our 4th cruise, by the way.
Well done.
So we enjoyed it, and we had a great time. We met some great people on there. The staff, you can't complain. They go out of their way to do anything for you, I recommend Royal Caribbean anytime.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And going on from what Rod was saying there, like the staff are unbelievable. Now, I've worked in hospitality, and these guys bounce back. They're on the cruise ships for 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Day after day after day. They very rarely get any time off. But thanks to Rod for giving us a call on that. Let's go to Flora now. She's in Naranda. How are you, Flora?
Oh, hi. Look, my call is that we're thinking of doing just a short cruise from Fremantle to Fremantle, but I can't seem to find any cruises.
No, sadly, Flora, there isn't any going just Fremantle to Fremantle for a little while. So P&O Cruise used to do that. That was P&O Australia. They've been taken over by Carnival. They've just refurbished their ships into Carnival livery, and they're just started actually one on Friday and the other one starting on Monday. So there isn't anything coming out of Fremantle for a while that's going to be doing a return. I'm very sorry to tell you. But the good news, if you get to Sydney, Brisbane, they definitely have lots of 4-day cruises just out of there.
Yeah. The reason why we wanted one next year, because it's my husband and my birthday's a day apart, and our wedding anniversary is a week apart, and it's our 50th wedding anniversary, and we were
Lovely.
just going to go. We just wanted to go from Fremantle to Fremantle, not too far. Just, like a really short trip without actually going on a plane. And I've been hunting and I can't find anything. Do you think there'll be anything for next year?
So 2026, there is nothing at the moment. Let's hope that Carnival and Princess have a look at it for 2027.
But apart from that being the changeover of the fleet, is it also to do with the renovations that they're doing down at Fremantle?
There's a lot involved because the port fees are quite high there and the facilities aren't great. So the cruise ships look at it and go, well, how much money can I make, off of these trips? And they look at Perth and the fees are high. So, and the facilities aren't great. So they go, okay, well, let's stick to Melbourne, Sydney, where we will make sure we get capacity as well. It's not to say that there's not demand there. It's just the facilities available. And even look, if we have a look at when Carnival, the president, Christine Duffy, was in Sydney on Friday, she actually mentioned in her speech the high costs to Australian cruising. And she said it's going to be 30% down in 25-26. And it's due to the high costs and regulations. And it's also the popularity of the Caribbean area at the moment. So cruise companies are sending their ships to the Caribbean, and they looked at Australia with the costs and went, we can make more if we go to the Caribbean. Not great for us, and obviously everyone's lobbying them to stay in Australian waters, but not great news.
Should be lobbying the port authorities to drop the prices a bit.
Look, if I'm going to be political, I would say it's our state government that needs to actually pick up the port and make it more attractive to cruise companies. They bring in a lot of money to the state when they visit.
Yeah, it's but as you say, it's not a good first impression, really.
No, it's not. It's not. If you've been down there and you've seen it, it isn't that attractive. There's no bridge straight across into Fremantle. Fremantle's got so much to give. And so does Perth as a region for a cruise ship to come into, but the facilities aren't there.
But Paul, before we get into the deals, because I know you've got a few there to rattle off, the Trans-Pacific cruising,
yes,
from Sydney and Brisbane, I think it is. There's one leaving in a few weeks, which is Celebrity X, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a Celebrity Edge, leaving on the 20th of April. So all the ships are now going to start leaving Australian waters to head to either European waters or to America.
Relocation cruise, obviously, out to Hawaii.
There's some great deals out there too.
But I think that also heads on to Vancouver as well. That's got an interesting concept, hasn't it? It's got what they're calling a virtual balcony.
Infinity Edge balcony. So it's a really clever design. So, you have a normal balcony has a window and a sliding door. Mm-hmm. This has a bifolding door. So you can push the bifolding door back and your room becomes out into your balcony, and they have a window that drops down, which is motorized. Mm-hmm. So it's like you've increased your stateroom size dramatically. Still got ocean views, you've still got a balcony, you just drop the window down to have like a balcony, and then your air conditioning obviously cuts off. It's a really fun idea. I'm doing my first one on Celebrity Edge in a couple of weeks just to try it out.
Okay, well, I'll be interested to hear what you say about that. I'll have to ring you because I don't know if I'll be back on air again. But the interesting thing about that is that from what I understand, the captain at any stage can close all of those windows.
I would say that would be true. Yeah.
In case of bad weather.
Absolutely, because people will leave them open, and next minute, if you've got bad weather, your room's flooded. And I might have done that in Koh Samui at our villa once.
Oh, did you?
We had to say, we're at the day spa, and we had to say, so can you ring housekeeping and send someone up to shut our villa down, because this storm came from nowhere and it flooded it. They had to change our mattress.
Now, we just discussed that companies are starting to move away from cruising out of Australia. There's still going to be more. There'll be some. But we are now seeing the end of the season here, basically.
It is.
And people are moving where? Are they going up through Asia, or are they heading...
Well, most of the cruise ships will go either across to Hawaii up to Alaska, or right around to Hawaii, the south of America. Or they just go up to Europe. So they start their trail up back to Europe.
I was more talking about the cruising people, the customers themselves. Are they looking for
absolutely.
A cruise? Are they going to Asia, or are they looking to go to Europe or America, or where?
At the moment, everything's hot for the Mediterranean. It's
right.
European summer coming up, and so everyone's looking to let's go over somewhere nice and warm, getting away from Perth winter. And so, it's the time to go to Greece and to Italy in the south of France. It's their busiest time. It's also the busiest time for cruises as well. And look, to be honest, I was looking at cruises for a client over the weekend, and it was for October, and I can only get them one room on Celebrity Ascent, and that is in the Aqua class. They can't get two. So one of them's going to have to be in a deluxe balcony, or they're going to look at another cruise.
Wow.
Yeah. And and the cruises I'm looking at, I give them all the room numbers and say, this is what we've got available. There's 4 in this category available to you. That's amazing when you've got a cruise ship for 4,500.
Yeah.
So the season's filling up. It doesn't say there's no deals coming through, but certain ships, especially if they're new, are very popular, and depending on where they're going to. This was from Southampton down to the Canary Islands, which is an awesome area to cruise around, back via Spain, and then it ended up at Southampton again. So you can see why it's busy.
We've had this discussion before. When you look at the price, you've got to understand what's included in the price, don't you? Because some of them include all drinks as well as all food. So you've got to, apples with apples.
Yeah, so all cruises will include your basic food. So, and I don't want to say basic. It's beautiful. It's a la carte. However, it doesn't always include the specialty restaurants. So on the bigger ships, you might have up to 8 specialty restaurants on there as well, and they can charge anywhere between $35 to $100 depending on what the restaurant is.
Mate, just quickly, we've got a couple of minutes left. Give us a couple of specials that you've got.
Yeah, sure. So look, this is a special from Bordeaux to Southampton on Asmara. Now, what I love about Asmara is your drinks are all inclusive.
Right.
So you're not going to get a big bill at the end and be surprised. It is a 9-night cruise departing on Tuesday the 10th of June. You're going to go through the south of France, through to Italy, and end up at Southampton. Normally, the ocean view room is $11,912 per person. We've got it on special at the moment for $2,369. That's a great saving. It's 80% off.
What?
I know. It's crazy. And it's like, just think, when I say the price per day, you're going to go, oh, that seems high, but that's including all your drinks.
Yeah. So
$263 per person per day, which is great value.
Absolutely.
Look, and just another one I'm going to sneak in there is Oceania. Now, Oceania is a beautiful cruise ship. It's a smaller cruise ship, very high-leveled service on board. It's a 7 nights from Athens to Barcelona. It departs on Monday the 9th of June. Leaving from Athens, you're going to go through Olympia, Rome, Florence, Monte Carlo, Marseille, and end up at Barcelona. Great cruising. Now, they're all balconies, so the balcony room normally sells for $9,998. We've got it on for a moment at $3,375, so that's 66% off.
Unbelievable.
And this is unusual because Oceania are up there in the high end scale. For them to discount's really good.
Paul, thanks very much for your time. Great chatting to you, and good to have a few callers through today as well. Appreciate your time, and happy cruising.
Thank you, and thanks for having me back on.
Am I dreaming? No, I'm living in my dream.